Kait, the Swiftie.
And surprise, surprise, I'm not so swift, Sam. Not too swift. So too not swift. Not too swift, Sam. Not so swift, Sam? No, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
Hi, Kait.
Hi, Sam. Taylor's back on tour.
Yeah, back to the eras.
Taking Miami by storm.
Miami. Well, hey. Okay. Did she play Florida?
She did with Florence, all 3 shows. Not surprise songs, though. Part of the set list.
Called it.
Florida and Florence.
Florida and Florence.
Florence and Florida?
You can't have a song called Florida and not play it in Florida.
All 3 nights with Florence, though.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's
Love
big.
that.
Was she the opener?
No.
Oh, she just popped in?
She was just there.
Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
Hanging out.
That's great.
Our girl
Yeah.
Gracie Abrams was the opener.
Right on.
And Gracie's mom showed up to the tour in a hat that said Gracie and like homemade buttons of like Taylor and Gracie. And her Kamala shirt. It was really cute.
That's cool.
Mom was living her best life.
They always do.
Yeah, there were lots of fun people at the Eras tour in Miami.
Like who?
Dave Portnoy was there.
Barstool.
He had some TikTok drama going on around this. A girl went on TikTok and said that Dave is not the king of the Swifties. He's a poser, and Taylor's team wants nothing to do with him. And he was at the Eras tour in Miami, where he also lives, and was in the VIP box hanging out with Mama Swift and Austin Swift. And Taylor had them deliver a handwritten note. So, I'd say he's probably still king of the Swifties. And his Eras tour jacket he wore in Meadowbrook has gone all around to all the other concerts. Like, it gets passed off from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave wore it when he went tonight, too, again. And then he gave it to, like, a long-term Barstool employee's daughter. She got to wear it.
Cool.
So it's fun to see these little traditions continue.
Yeah, TB12 was there with his kids.
The boys, not the
Yeah.
daughter.
Strange, right?
Yeah, maybe. She's busy that day? I have no idea.
She might be walking the catwalk somewhere.
Probably.
So speaking of cats and walking around, the little trailer version of Taylor walking into the theater with the cat.
Yeah, she came into the stadium holding her cat Meredith, and everybody thought that it was something's coming. But the bigger takeaway is the cat shares a striking resemblance to Travis's coach.
What?
Their mustaches, their whiskers.
Hold on one sec. I gotta pull this up.
So it was she walked 11 steps and then turned around. Like, she knows what she's doing. Like, she has a team of people who follow all of the stuff that's happening. And, like, I think that's why fans love it so much, because she gives just enough. Like, she engages just enough. She knows that we're going to be like, well, she took this many steps, or to change the note on this word. She knows what she's doing.
Okay, so last week we were talking about, the will she, won't she when it comes to the re-release of Reputation.
Yeah.
And so something that's been in my mind is how it's just right on the head how you just said it. She takes this Alfred Hitchcock approach where it's not the gun that's scary, it's waiting for the bang. And she found out how to just are you ready for it is the question. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
We're all mad here.
But it's keeping every one of her fans ready for whenever it could possibly be.
We're engaged. It's a high engagement.
It's a
return on a small investment.
But it's no longer a small investment.
From her.
Sure.
She's like, all right. Well, and I think, with everything that happened this past week, Liam Payne from One Direction's tragic passing, I really don't think it would have been an appropriate time to be like, here's my new album.
Okay.
I think even if it was the plan, which probably wasn't the plan, but like there was just so much going on in the zeitgeist in the pop culture world that it almost, I think, would have seemed a little gauche.
I want to make sure that honoring you trying to keep us on the rails, I don't want to take us too off the rails. But that strikes me as a very interesting dilemma because she has control over when her product is being released.
Yeah.
And so she could say, okay, October 12th we're doing something, and then October 10th something happens, that the big ripples out there. Something happened to somebody else unrelated, but maybe she knows, or maybe it's a
she
big
does.
deal. Right.
Because she was part of that pop star era when One Direction, I mean, she was dating Harry.
Mm-hmm.
They were huge. She was getting huge. Like, she was really a part of that. Like, I'm sure, knew him. Probably, who knows to what extent.
Right.
But that's still, to see somebody who's famous, who struggles with fame, as Taylor struggled with fame in different ways, to get to that point where the demons got him. As a pop star, as somebody who lives in the public eye like that, it's got to make you take a minute and be like,
well, definitely. It definitely does. And I mean, huge advocate for mental health, huge advocate for reaching out for help. What I was trying to say was the idea of being like, okay, let's postpone this. Let's do it. Let's shoot next month. And so you have a date for next month because you can control it. You have to grind the gears to a stop. You're making sure you're holding off on stuff. You're re-promoting it again. In Taylor's case, she doesn't really need to. She doesn't need to put up a billboard in anywhere.
Easier for her than most.
But there's also no guarantee that what happens next month, like something else could happen. It's that she's in a fortunate enough position right now where she can have total control over when things happen. It's not going to cost her. She's not going to see a dip in profits, period.
No. If anything, it just built it up a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. And with everybody else the guys you mentioned that canceled or had pushed back their dates of releases, it does nothing but impact them of being like, okay, this is the safe bet. This is the insurance bet. Let's hold. Okay. And she's got up from the table and now we're just holding. And so.
Well, and again, those are guys who are probably breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief that they're not out there trying to promote albums right now.
Right.
Feeling a little inauthentic about it.
Yeah. Especially if all things considered, this happened.
I mean, Joe Jonas, like the Jonas Brothers, One Direction, like, I think everybody is probably a little shaken up. It was terrifying and terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pivot back out
Please.
of that tough conversation. At the rep show, while she didn't release Rep, she did give us a brand new Rep bodysuit.
Is this like the snake shedding its skin again thing?
Fully new outfit.
Okay.
Brand new outfit.
Okay.
We went from red snakes to gold snakes. Brand new outfit. Which the Reputation costume bodysuit was the only thing that had never changed in the Eras tour. The Europe legs, the US legs. Some of the sequins came off because it lived a life.
It shed its skin.
But I think
that was the thing I thought was, it correct my koala brain, that there was the shedding of the sequins, but it was going from like red to green, or there was a color change.
Yeah, most likely it was just.
Okay. It was just, wear and tear.
Yeah.
Okay.
133 shows. It did its best.
You'd think it would last 134.
Well, we got a gold one, which is interesting because in Daylight, which is the last song off Lover, it says, I once believed love was burning red, but now it's golden, like daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had Midnights, which is celebrating its second birthday.
Oh.
2 years ago, yesterday, we were at Mona.
Yeah.
Mona.
Yeah.
Watching or listening.
Kate threw a listening party.
Yeah. Jason didn't come.
It's okay. Everyone else did.
Midnights are not for Jason.
I showed up at your dances. Twice.
You showed up to the party.
Twice.
Yeah.
3 times Jason.
And then, so it's interesting because we started at Midnights. Tortured Poets kind of feels like a middle of the night, like writing in your diary. We danced till dawn.
Okay.
And now we're at daylight, coming into the daylight.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because it's a clock. It's been a clock.
And time is just a flat circle. So she's going back to debut. She's allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Tay. S to the WF.
You look at the Eras Tour poster, the Eras Tour graphic, and it's all the Taylors and a Taylor in the middle.
Uh-huh.
It's a clock. It's a clock. Remember our Midnight's clock?
For today, right?
Well,
what day did that come out?
The 21st.
21st. Was that
The
the
21st night of September?
October.
Hold on a second. Now, what other historical thing happened with a clock in October? Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same day?
No.
It's not? Do you know what day it is? Is it the 15th?
I'm happy to look it up right now, and we can keep vamping.
We don't have to, but I was thinking...
when the clock is struck by lightning. Yeah.
It was a date.
It was a date.
And I think it was an October date.
AI is looking.
Did you just stumble upon the biggest
I just
Easter egg
wrote
of
on
them all?
myself.
Did you just stick your pen in your mouth?
No, I just stuck my pen on my chin.
Oh, no.
I
Easter egg. That's an Easter egg.
Just drawing on my face over here.
Wah, wah.
Back to the Future Day is October 21st,
And what date?
2015.
What day did the album come out?
Midnights came out the 21st.
So
And it's a clock.
Is Taylor giving us? She's not giving us reputation, but she's giving us hoverboards. So she's giving us a DeLorean. If she
No, but her Midnight's album basically was a clock, so she could tell everybody we're going to go back to the future and do all these other albums.
Well, and she did go back. Well, and she did. She did go
And
back.
she did.
And she with her re-records. And these are
Easter
13
eggs.
sleepless nights. I got to write this down so I remember to put this on
Hey
TikTok.
now,
wow,
look at me coming up with shit.
Look at you with a theory.
No.
I just gave you some a whole baker's dozen Easter eggs.
Do you think that was a Taylor idea, or do you think that she's got someone in her crew that's like, Taylor, hear me out? You know how you really like Back to the Future? Wouldn't it be cool if?
I'm sure she was like, that would be perfect.
So not only was it the 4 albums together that make the clock, but the album poster itself is
I
a clock.
think the Eras Tour poster could be a clock.
Is the
Because
Taylor
she's in the middle and you have the different eras.
So, is the Taylor in the middle? Is it like she just represents time itself?
Yeah, she's like the hand of the clock.
Oh, okay.
It's a clock. It's always been a clock.
It's always been a
Always
clock.
been a clock. Time. Speaking of timeless, Billy Joel was at our concert.
Really?
Brought the kids. Wore a shirt, said hi, it's me. I'm the Swiftie dad. It's me. And while he was there, she broke his attendance record.
Wow. For Miami or for?
For Miami at the stadium.
Yep.
He said it with Elton
Mhm.
when they were on tour together, and then Taylor broke it. And he posted the most lovely Instagram post about how he was so excited to see her continue on the traditions and to set the example for young women artists. And it was really sweet. He's a really class act, that Billy Joel.
Yes, he is. Seen him once in concert. Very good. Very good.
And the Kelce family showed up, sans Travis.
Right. Well, he was.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
No, we can talk about that. The Chiefs were destroying the 49ers on Sunday.
Yep.
And then she's saying, Karma's a guy on the Chiefs. Just Sunday night. He wasn't there. Thanks, Taylor.
When I tuned in,
Appreciated that.
I saw the score. I had 2 thoughts, and it was, "Ooh, I should text Kate right now." And the second thought was, "No."
Yeah.
And I feel like I was going to be like, "Oh, maybe I could make a Taylor Swift." No, don't do it.
No.
Not worth it.
No. She doesn't play for the Chiefs.
She doesn't.
Yeah. But the Mama Kelce,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kelce, Kylie Kelce, their daughters were there, living their best lives.
Do you think that Thanksgiving is going to be at the Swift residence or at the Kelce residence?
Who could say? Probably the Kelce.
Yeah?
It's probably easier to do it when you've got kids. I don't know.
Yeah, bring everyone.
I mean,
fly
it's not like
everyone
they
over.
all live around the corner. It's
Right.
like Jason's in Philadelphia area, Travis is in Kansas City, Missouri, Taylor's anywhere.
Anywhere she needs to be. She's in New York or she's not, or she's here or she's not, or
So,
she's
like,
on tour.
Yeah, who could say?
Is she going to be she's on tour through the holidays.
Kind of ish.
13 weeks?
Ish.
Yeah.
So she's finishing. We're going to New Orleans this week, and then she goes to Indy, and then I think there's a lull, and then she's in Canada for a couple dates.
Right.
But we did have our last ever Eras Tour rain show.
I mean,
All the rest of the stadiums are covered.
Oh.
Can't have any more rain shows.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Well.
They were rare, but we remember them all too well.
Mm-hmm.
They
She
were
said
rare.
fire to the rain.
I was there. But yeah, that's kind of like the start of the beginnings, the last rain show, the last couple US dates, going into the Canada dates, and then it's done. And then God knows what she'll do. TS12, Reputation, debut.
TS12. I think Maine already has TS12.
There are Easter eggs.
There are Easter eggs everywhere. We're finding more and more.
She also came up during the We Were Young festival in Vegas, which is the emo festival they do every year.
Yeah.
And the band We Are Kings was doing a panel with Hot Topic, and they asked him, somehow Taylor Swift came up, and they were like, oh, we have a funny story. Like, our song, Check Yes, Juliet, had come out, and Taylor comes up to the lead singer, and she goes, I'm such a fan of yours. I've been listening to Check Yes, Juliet on repeat. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, Taylor Swift knows who we are. She listens to us. And then he happened to hear Love Story, and he was like, I feel like it inspired it a little bit.
He feels like he inspired.
Like, it's just a tiny bit, you know, when you're like, oh, like, she's been listening to my song,
Sure.
you know, Romeo and Juliet. Maybe this triggered a moment of inspiration for her.
Maybe.
It's just fun. It's always fun when Taylor and emo cross paths. And after that, 2 years of Midnights. I bought the cardigan. I'm very excited. Adding the Midnights cardigan to my collection. I was going to wear my 1989 cardigan today, but it's 70 degrees out.
Yeah, it is surprisingly great weather. Can we
Yeah.
podcast outside today, Dad?
He doesn't like the noise.
Doesn't.
Well, we're going to hit pause because we've covered Taylor.
Yeah.
You hit pause. We're going into 1989
Taylor's version.
because on this podcast,
You listen to Taylor. I was so
that's a
confused.
hostage moment there.
I didn't know. I was like, this is what she's leading you into as you say Taylor's version. And then I was like, are you asking me for the song title? Because I kind of already forget. It's Something in Love. I was in love. We are in love.
No, I'm not going to make you do the song title. I'm just playing to the strength over here.
I don't know.
We're doing You Are in Love off 1989.
Taylor's version.
We're going to hit pause. You hit pause. We'll be right back. Well, Sam, what'd you think?
I think that this is the longest we've talked about what we hear about a song before we hit play again on record.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to like what I'm going to say.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
This song's better than Shake It Off.
I think you're lying, but okay.
I don't know. I think that when it comes to, this is her and Jack Antonoff.
It is her and Jack Antonoff.
I think that when it comes to writing, whether it's poetry, whether it's music, whether it's a movie, whether it's anything, you lean so hard into your style, your strengths, that when you decide to or are forced to make a hard pivot and write against how you usually write, that sometimes you may not like it, but something better came out. I know that she does a couple of songs where it's that her syncopation is like that da da ba da 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 ba ba da da, and she loves to throw as many syllables as she can into a bar, as much as she can at once. But if she's writing it smaller, it's just more succinct. So it's like 6 syllables, 6 syllables, 6 syllables. In this case, she's essentially writing 4/5. And she's doing 4 here, and then she's either breaking up into a 2/3, or it's 4 here and then a 3/2. But she's doing not only a small amount of words per stanza, but she's also writing one of her narrative songs. And I think that this may kind of be, because it's so simple, it became so succinct, it became a bit more concrete. The abstract moments add to the poetry, but it's the idea that you can hear it in the silence. She leaves room for the listener to hear what she's singing and then see the picture, see the image of what she's singing about. I feel like it's such a spark of a song. It's so succinct that if I had heard this song early on in my life or when this came out, I would have been like, damn. I like the song.
We've done 2 of the 3 bonus, not vault songs, but bonus songs from 89.
Mm-hmm.
And you really liked New Romantics. And I think you'd probably like Wonderland. But it's interesting to see how New Romantics and You Are in Love got pushed to the bonus side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like 1989 is such just a solid album as is, other than Shake It Off.
Okay.
A very but considering like she had one chance, she knew that going in, she had to absolutely hit it with this album, or she would just be another country star who failed in the pop
She did not
world.
want to miss her chance to blow.
There was no other option for her, and she delivered.
And okay, so this is 89.
Yes.
Okay. It's so crazy because 89 in my mind with my idea of what this album is, not your idea, not the Swiftie idea, but it's supposed to be big pop, big bubblegum, but I mean not just bubblegum. It's supposed to be break away, distance yourself enough, stay yourself.
Yeah, I don't think bubblegum is a fair word to use with that.
Probably not.
I think it cheapens it a little bit
Sure.
because I think the songwriting is better. I think the album has kind of the whole spectrum of what made 80s pop interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You had the fun, like, frivolous song of Shake It Off.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little bit more of a satirical tongue-in-cheek with, Blank Space. You have, Out of the Woods, these big songs. But you also have a couple softer songs on there that, give you could make it a soundtrack of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could start with you moving to New York and you following your life through.
So with that, let's pivot into a bit of what we were talking about before we hit record, which was the songs it was making us think of. We went from Bruce Springsteen in Philadelphia, and then we were both thinking Madonna.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, it felt like, okay, big 80s is Madonna.
Big 80s is Madonna.
Material Girl and Shake It Off are both kind of that frivolous and fun song.
I would say Blank Space and Material Girl,
Okay.
kind of, because you're kind of poking fun at your image there of like, clearly just a Material Girl.
A bit more sardonic, a bit more satiristic. Okay. This, I mean, this bridge wasn't it's not a belty bridge.
Nope. Is that a rage bridge?
It's not a rage bridge. It's a feel bridge.
Yeah.
This is, this whole song makes me feel like this is a third act in a movie. It makes me feel like this is if whatever Kristen Bell and Adrian Brody are doing right now.
Oh.
Whatever, like this.
Not Adrian
this makes
Brody.
me feel.
No.
Adam Brody.
Adam Brody.
It makes me feel like it's one of those like they're coming together, they're moving apart, and now they're both running towards each other moments, like in a film. This is like Harry Met Sally and Billy Crystal's running up and being like, I'm choosing you because I want to be with you. This is New Year's Day. Like this, it has you've seen the whole story and it's like, okay, we're both on board. We're realizing we should be together.
I think I kind of disagree. I actually disagree with that.
Please.
I think this song is about those you're in the relationship. You've been in it for a long time, and it's the little things. It's those moments in time, the burnt toast, the coffee, the sitting in silence, the comfortability of being in a relationship that's healthy and works. And I think that's why this is probably one of her best love songs, because it's not about the gestures or the big things. It's the little moments that build your life. And I think that's where Taylor really weaves her best love songs, because it's small moments, small things, your pictures in his office downtown. It's not like you bought me the biggest diamond ring ever to propose to me, or you changed your whole life for me. It's just those like normal gestures that are little acts of love that build into this big love story.
You keep his shirt, he keeps his word. And for once, you let go of your fears and your ghosts. One step, not much, but it said enough. And it goes into those small moments like
It's
you're talking
the
about.
comfortability of a relationship where you're both secure in what you have and where you can just be, and you're not trying to change things, or you're not needing these big gestures, or you're not needing to do everything. You can just be who you are and be comfortable. And I think that's why this song is so powerful.
And you can hear it in the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I like and I hate that word comfortability, because comfortability sometimes can be interchangeable with complacency.
I think it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you are comfortable in your skin and in your relationship and you can just be, then there's a lot of beauty in that.
Sure.
And I don't think a relationship, and what I think Taylor's saying here is your relationship isn't supposed to be these big moments and these big fights and these makeups, and you shouldn't be having to like figure things out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You should just have these like routines and these little moments where you're like, this is our life and this really works for us, and we don't need to have all of the noise around us.
Sure. The fights can happen, and the fights can be about anything, but it's not just life is chaotic and everything's a mess, and then now that it's settled, now it's like, okay, of course, that's what it should be.
Yeah,
you have a dust up, and then you go about the rest of your day.
I don't think they're even having that. I think she's just saying in these moments, you're just in this place where you're like, okay. And you see this theme through this album a lot. She's like, I can finally breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I can, like the angst of it is gone. And I think that, like, as somebody, Taylor, who has an anxious attachment style, to see her writing these songs where, and this isn't about her own love story.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote about when Jack was with Lena Dunham and the things Lena would say about her relationship with Jack. And so this was an aspirational song for her. She's like, this is what I imagine real, stable, married for 100 years love to be.
Okay. But so this isn't, sorry, married for 100 years. All I thought was when you're talking about when she had the black and white photo of the swingers, of like the swinging 1920s, and it's the
Starlight.
Okay.
Ethel Kennedy, who recently passed away.
Which was an inspiration around the similar time as this, correct?
Nope, that's from Red.
Red, okay. So predating this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
this is just, And I think Taylor has always had this, like, that was that fun, like, we're made of starlight, it glitters, it's,
Mm-hmm.
And this is just those calm moments. And we see this kind of walk through the rest of her discography now, where, like, with Lover, her other, like, big love song, which has come into question now, like, we can leave the Christmas lights up till January.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can have our friends over. Like, those little things that you do that you take for granted are really the foundation building of what she believes great love to be.
So using that, I want to go into and so it goes. You two are dancing in a snow globe round and round.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps the picture of you in his office downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand now why they lost their minds and fought the wars,
Mm-hmm.
and why I've spent my whole life trying to put into words, or why I spent my whole
Mm-hmm.
life trying to put it into words.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is it's a hard shift from that concrete, succinct, exactly what's going on imagery into something a bit more grandiose and amorphous. Of the picture on the desk downtown, and then fighting wars and trying to get words out and stuff is.
I think, like, when you're in the snow globe, it captures that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's that moment where the snow is swirling and it's just you two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think when she says, he keeps a picture of you in his office downtown, like, it's a way of saying, like, this is somebody who's important to me,
Mm-hmm.
without being like, I'm dating Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see me? I'm dating Taylor Swift. And it's also like, you understand now, because you're in this great love, why for centuries, a lot of wars have been fought because of love.
Sure.
And so I think what she's saying is, like, when you see that love is these little moments and you understand how big this is, you get why people went to war over this.
Mm-hmm.
You understand. And this is what the love song she's written, she spent her whole life trying to
figure out.
say that, it's this, the little moments where you wake up and you're like, oh, I am in love. It's not like somebody shaking you, or it's not this, like, big production of a Broadway show, or a flash mob. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
this is good. Like, it doesn't matter what's happening.
So, do we think that this song kind of became back burner bonus content maybe because it was such a grounded, calm?
I think it was an adult song. It wasn't as, look, I can't imagine having to take all of the tracks that we've seen
Yeah.
from 89 and make the decision. And I think they made the right decisions on what they put in there. But I can't imagine, I mean, she writes all the time. She and Jack produce things all the time. Jack had this melody, the track, and he sent it to her and she wrote the song over it. Like, they're always seemingly collaborating like this. And so I think, like, she loved it, but knew that it wasn't going to tell the full story on the album, but it does work for the bonus tracks.
So this right here has me thinking about when I've been listening to Chapel Rowan lately. And you and I listen to it in the car, or it pops up on my feed, and I listen like, ugh, it's not really for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear someone else do it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I like this now. Like, it's like there's either something sonically, but somebody else who I'm familiar with, or like, oh, I don't really like Chapel, but I like this person. I'll listen to them do it. It gets me into the song. I feel like this is a song where if someone else was covering it, it might get more of that appeal. It's kind of Dan Wilson from Semisonic, Closing Time. That guy, that song is still kind of like a song that tracks. People still hear that song every now and then. It had a lot of like, it was a one-hit wonder type of feel. But that guy's written songs for Beyonce, for Adele. He's written a lot of top one songs that he could have done, and instead someone else is doing it. I feel like this is one of those songs where, yes, it is Taylor's material, and yes, it can be semi-autobiographical. It's definitely her style and what she does, but it's such a different vein of that style, not including everything she did afterwards. But it feels like this is one of those songs where if there was ever a song that she wrote that she's like, I'm going to ship this to somebody else, that's kind of this song. Like, maybe it's because going into everything post-Red, we're almost getting into everything that goes wrong of like cancel Taylor. It's almost like a calm before the storm.
Uh-huh.
But it felt like that's one of those things where like this was a possibility of a path.
I think you could take this song and drop it on Midnights. I think you could drop it on not really Tortured Poets, but I think you could drop it on maybe like a Folklore and an Evermore, change the production of it, and it would be another, like, it would be a
Okay.
flagpole. I think it was just a little early for where she was in 1989. I think it's a wildly strong song, but the album was so strong that it just never kind of got the recognition. New Romantics is such a strong song.
Mm-hmm.
It never got the recognition outside of the very particular fan base. And I think it's really interesting to see. And this is, I think, my complaint with like all of the content we get from Taylor is it didn't get the room to breathe.
Mm.
And Taylor songs come up. Like, this will get its time at some point. Like, the Swifties will come back to it. It will. They all do. Like, all these songs kind of get a second life. But it's interesting to see how she picks her songs and how they parallel into the albums that she does in the future. And even her real life. Like, she has her Eras Tour poster in the Kelce suite at Arrowhead. So technically her picture is in his office.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting to see those little winks and nods to like what she believes love is. And it's interesting to see her believing in that and getting that, where they can go out, Travis can talk about their relationship in a way Joe never did. Travis can be proud of what he does.
Mm-hmm.
They can do their thing in ways that like work for them, but in where they support what the other one is doing in a big way, but in the silence. Like, they have their moments, they have their life. We don't know what happens when they're alone, but we do know that like they've got something good and they're proud of it and they can talk about it and they can be settled and secure in who they are because of the little things. They don't have the angst. And it's nice to see Taylor in that embodiment of what she really believed love to be, instead of the anxious attachment of like, I don't know, I don't want to make the wrong decision, which she seemed to have in her past relationships.
I didn't want to ask like if this was a Joe song. There was something else I felt was more prevalent.
Joe did not exist.
Yeah.
Joe did not exist in the Taylor universe.
To the best of your knowledge, has this been one of her secret tracks?
Oh yeah, she's done this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I believe it was a piano song, but don't.
I mean, yeah, I could see that as a piano song as opposed to a good acoustic song.
You know, I think you can tell 1989 is a really special moment for her. It really did make her a pop star. And to see like her get to live that out and redo these songs. And she's been mashing up a lot of 1989 songs, which is, it's fun to see her get to reclaim that joy. And now that she's found love. And on that note, maybe we should roll the dice.
Yeah, let's roll the dice. Each and every week we roll the Jillian Bertuzzi Yellow. Hope you're doing well with your fellow die. We're going to pick an album. We're going to pick a song. We got Reputation is off the board. We're getting close on a couple of these albums.
Yeah,
for what
we're getting there.
All right. Rolling. 7.
Ooh, Lover.
Which is blue? No.
Pink.
Pink. Okay. I always see like purple, but it's pink.
Speak now.
And a 7 again.
Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
Whoa.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Okay, so Miss Americana is one of the docus about.
Miss Americana is her documentary.
Okay.
But we might be getting another one because there were cameras all over Miami.
Yeah, there's been a lot
There
of
were cameras all over London. She had cameras in LA. Maybe we just get the movie extended.
Maybe we're going from Americana to Miss Worldwide. She's the new Pitbull.
You know, I think Pitbull would only be so lucky. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, follow, rate, subscribe, review, tell 10, 15, 100 of your favorite friends why you are in love with our podcast.
Yeah, thank you all so much for the support you've been giving us, whether it's day 1 or day 101. We really appreciate everyone who's been watching now and listening. And let us know.
Make sure to watch on YouTube.
Yeah. Give us hit us up in the comments. Let us know why Kate's right. Let us know why I'm wrong.
There's so much comment on.
There's so much to comment on.
Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week with Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince from Lover. I'm Kait the Swiftie.
And I'm Not So Swift Sam.
See you next week.